Hi, I'm Jenny Brown, Sales Director at Mortgages for Business, and welcome to our weekly buy-to-let mortgage market update. I'm still here in lovely Paxos, and for those who joined me last week, I'm delighted to say that we do now have running water. We were only without for 24 hours, so yeah, it wasn't so bad after all. So we're still in the same villa and still having a lovely time until we return back to the UK on Friday. So in terms of what's been happening in the buy-to-let mortgage market over the last week, some great news that Vida Home Loans has resumed lending, and they've come back to the market with a bit of a bang actually. They've returned to lending with 85% loan-to-value products for both personal and limited company borrowing structures, and they're also able to offer 85% loan-to-value mortgages on HMOs and multi-units as well. So really fantastic to have these guys back, but also to see them come back in with such a bang. Now they've also introduced a range of expat mortgages which are available to 75% loan to value as well. Now Vida Home Loans are a lender who is, I always say this, but very landlord friendly. So they're absolutely fantastic for those landlords with large portfolios in the background. They have some favourable stress tests as well and some really neat bits of lending criteria. So we're really happy to have them back first and foremost, but also great to see them coming back with such a great new product set. The other piece of lender news that I've caught this week while I've been on holiday is that Foundation Home Loans have reduced their 5-year fixed rate products. And this is across their standard and large loan range. So now their products start at 3.14% for 5-year fixes, and these are available to both individuals and limited companies too. Again, Foundation Home Loans are another lender who is very, very good for those landlords with larger portfolios. So definitely more of a specialist lender, but great to see them shaving off pricing on their 5-year fixes to make them more competitive. It feels this week there's been quite a lot of survey results coming out, and of those that I've read, some of them have been really quite interesting, and I found some data that I wanted to share with you. Now, first of all, a company called Cherry, which is an online broker forum, so for mortgage brokers, have done some research, and they have found that more than half of brokers have seen an increase in buy-to-let activity. Now, 30% have seen an uptick in personal loan purchases and 27% in limited company purchases. There's also been a notable rise in demand for HMO mortgages, multi-units, and also short-term lending. Now, the reason people take short-term lending or bridging finance is really when they're looking at refurbishment projects. So it's great to see that it's not just Mortgages for Business which are seeing an increase in landlord activity, but also landlords are clearly looking at different types of asset class, so your HMOs and multi-units, but also for projects where they're able to acquire something and add value quickly by doing a refurbishment. Now, we also saw a survey from the Leeds Building Society be released this week. And this is a survey where they poll landlords rather than mortgage brokers. Now, of the respondents to the survey, 79% of landlords who are planning on buying a new buy-to-let property pre-pandemic are saying that their plans had now changed, with half still wanting to buy a property in the coming months, but are reconsidering their plans in terms of the type of property they're buying. So back to HMOs, multi-units, and holiday lets is another one we've seen lots of interest in. But what they're also doing is reconsidering the location of properties. So there's definitely been a notable increase, and we're seeing this reported in many different pieces of data in terms of people looking for places that aren't quite as city-centric, some more green spaces around. And really this is kind of on the back of COVID and lockdown and people not wanting to be or wanting to be around more space. Now, the final results or survey that I've seen this week is from the Mortgage Works. Now, the Mortgage Works always publish really good information which comes from polls they carry out across landlords. And this time it was all about rental yields. So the survey respondents on average receive £8,571 per year rental income per property which they rent out. Now, of the respondents, 21% had increased their rental income in the last 12 months, and 13% are planning to increase their rents in the next 6 months. The survey also commented that the average yield is highest on an HMO at 6.9%. Now, from my experience, 6.9% would be a fair yield on an HMO, but actually we have clients who have yields which are much higher too. The lowest yield is on a single flat at 5.7%, and then there was various yields that sit very closely together between this for, bungalows, semi-detached houses, and so on. So lots of information around in the last week, which I hope is useful for you to hear. None of it actually particularly groundbreaking, but good to see that landlords are still looking to diversify. They're being agile in terms of their approach and response to COVID and where we are with things. And also looking to diversify just to kind of really shore up their portfolio and their financial position. The other piece of data that I wanted to share with you this week is that the Consumer Price Index inflation rose to 1% in July, which is up from 0.6% in June, according to the ONS, with the largest contribution being from recreation and culture. Now, what commentators have said is this does show that economic life is more moving back towards a normal, but is still way off the Bank of England target of 2%. There were further cautionary notes which say that actually this isn't necessarily going to continue on the same vein going forwards, with a lot of reliance being on whether there's a further round of lockdowns and other COVID-related setbacks. But really great news to see that things have at least moved a fairly significant step in the right direction. That's it from me this week, a short update on the market. I'll be back in the UK next time. So until then, please do look after yourselves. And as always, if you do have any questions, please go to our website, mortgagesforbusiness.co.uk, or give us a call 0345 345 6788. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week.